So in this video, I'm going to talk about how much money I spent in the month of September with my $100,000 per year salary living in Singapore. We're first going to review how much money I spent in the month of August, then we review how much money I spent for the different categories in September itself, and finally talk about all the different ways that I can finally save more money in the coming months. So for the whole month of August, these are all the various categories that I spent my money on, and it comes up to a grand total of $2,723.84. August has been a pretty good month for me because the expenses were a lot lower than the month before that, which was July. However, this month is going to be quite a bit more different because I actually traveled to Vietnam and I paid for my parents as well. What a filial son, right? But well, it's just the first trip that I ever paid for them. But I feel good, and it's nice that I was able to bring my parents overseas. But let's find out how much damage that actually was. So for the first two categories, it will be shopping and phone bills. I spent $33.70 on a couple of new gym pants that I can use for home or at the gym. I got them rather cheaply from Decathlon, and I'm confident they will last me for a very, very long time. So if you guys want those very comfortable pants but also useful to exercise, Decathlon is a very good place. Uniqlo is probably my second best place that I get cheap pants or clothes at a discount most of the time. For phone bills, it is my usual monthly M1 subscription bill, which costs $17.22. This brings the total to $103.92. For miscellaneous subscriptions, I have good news. I have not added anything new to this category. So if you guys have been following my money diaries throughout the last few months, you'll know that in the last few months, guilty as charged, I've been adding almost 1 to 2 subscriptions every single month. I usually use them for my YouTube videos, so I guess they kind of count as business expenses, and I usually have no problems overspending on things like this that will actually help me improve my YouTube channel. Nothing is too expensive to improve the quality of my YouTube videos, the editing, the software, all these kind of things. I am willing to spend on them. But for this entire category, I spent a total of $193, which is the same as last month, and that brings the total spending right now to $296.20. Next will be transport and credit card fees. So this is really interesting. So for transport, I'm glad to say that I've not taken any cab rides this month itself. I've just defaulted to taking the public transport, which is the trains and the buses, and I've only spent $100 on public transport this month, so that's really, really good. The part that's really annoying is that I actually forgot to pay my UOB One credit card bills on time. So this was such an unnecessary expense that it can be avoided. If you guys know, I'm talking about credit. I don't talk about credit cards very often on this channel itself, but it's also something that I'm using and something that you guys should be exploring and maybe using as well. But if you're using them, please pay your credit card bills on time. I have 2 UOB credit cards and they were both paid late, so it was $100 per card, so a total of $200 was wasted here. This brings the total expenses to $596.20. Now it comes down to the necessities that I have to pay every month, like taxes, insurance, and rent. I've decided to include taxes here as well so that I won't forget about it like last month. If you guys caught the video last month, you realize that I actually forgot about taxes and I had to last minute put in a lot more money in order to buffer for the taxes fund. So taxes will be $300, insurance will be $200, and rent will be $500 that I give to my mom every single month. This brings the total to $1,596.20. For investments, it's usually the money that I spend on editing these YouTube videos that go up on my channel every single week. For this month itself, I was able to churn out more videos than last month, around 7 videos or so, and that brings it to a total of $812.90. It's honestly a little bit on the higher side, but the YouTube channel is finally monetized and making a little bit of money on the side, so hopefully we can offset this spending soon. I'm also looking forward to sharing all this YouTube related income, maybe through affiliate marketing, maybe through my YouTube AdSense. I'm excited to share this with you in the next couple of months as well. This was actually just a random fact. I was just randomly counting how much money I've actually spent on YouTube itself since last year, and I think it has come up to almost 10k, which is pretty insane. But it sounds like a lot, but it's really not much considering that my YouTube channel is kind of like any other business out there that people are starting. So starting up a business with just $10,000 is relatively cheap compared to many other businesses. This brings the total to $2,409.10. For food and drinks, it is usually one of my highest expenses throughout the months. I'm eating a little bit more cleanly nowadays by ordering pre-packed food from Nutrify Meals. Not sponsored by the way, but if you're watching Nutrify Meals, you can sponsor me if you guys are interested. These meals cost a little bit more than usual, which is around the $12 to $15 range, but it really helps me to keep my calories lower and get my protein intake. Fun fact, I was able to lose anywhere between 3 to 5 5 kg in about 3 to 6 months effortlessly without changing anything. I'm not saying that you don't have to exercise or burn some calories. You still have to do all those things, but eating a little bit more cleanly has helped me to lose weight a little bit more effortlessly throughout these few months as well. I spent a total of $810.90 for all the food and drinks for this month itself. This brings the total to $3,220 before adding in my Vietnam trip expenses. So this is finally the pièce de résistance, which is the Vietnam trip expenses. I decided to pay for the entire trip for my parents and myself, and that caused the expenses to be a bit on the higher side. So thankfully I've been saving up and I have these two funds to tap on. I have the emergency fund and the travel fund. So I won't have to dig into the investments or the savings money for this month itself because I prepared this beforehand, which is really, really nice. I'm really proud of myself. As much as I'm berating myself for the stupid credit card bills that I didn't pay, this is the thing that I'm actually very, very proud of, that I'm able to put money aside. That's number one. And number two, I was able to pay for my parents as well, which is a nice thing to know, But after adding all the accommodations, the food, the transport, and everything in, I spent a total of $3,221.85 in Vietnam itself. This brings the grand total spending in September to $6,441.85, which is so much money. So after looking through all the expenses, it's important to look for areas of improvement. The late paying of credit card fees are the main problem. There was a good $200 wasted this month itself. My UOB credit cards are due every month on the 3rd, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a recurring monthly reminder on my phone on the 28th of every month. So this will be on my calendar itself, and it will sort of ring me up on the 28th so that I will pay my credit card bills on time. And this credit card bill, fingers crossed, this will be the last late credit card bill that I'm ever going to pay. This way I can regularly check in to pay my credit card bills on time, and I'll never incur these charges anymore. Other than that, I think the majority of my expenses were kept under control. I don't mind spending a little bit more on investments or food because my income allows for that as well. One thing I really have to give myself a pat on the back is obviously the travel fund and emergency funds that I've put in place. This has very nicely helped to buffer and pay for the entire trip without any extra money coming out of my savings. In fact, I think if I calculated correctly, after taking out all the expenses from my travel fund and my emergency fund, I still have anywhere between $700 to $800 still in the emergency fund that's unused, and I can continue to sort of build on it the next month itself again. Hopefully all these things gives you guys an insight on how I spend my monthly physio salary. If you enjoyed this video here, then you'll probably enjoy this video here on my 50k dividend portfolio update after August salary. Thanks for watching, have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.